Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 4. How is it day 4 already? I swear to goodness, it was day 3 like 2 seconds ago. Okay, let me get me up to the top so that everybody can see. Hold on. There's always like this weird delay between me starting to talk and everybody starting to see me. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ah, hey CJ, you're here in the background. Yeah, awesome. You guys are the best. All right. All right. Hi, guys. How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Christy, hello, my dear. If you want to come over and join us, you can. I sent you the link in chat, but if you've lost it, let me know. Got you covered. All right, team. Perfect. I'm at the top. Everybody should be able to see me. Awesome. Good morning, team. How are we doing this morning? This is pretty freaking awesome. Love seeing you guys. I am really excited for today. Today we have so much cool stuff happening, so I might just have to dive straight in. So if you're running late, don't panic. It's okay. All the replays are there. Actually, if you're running late, you won't hear this anyway, so I don't know why I'm bothering saying that. But hey, whatever. If you're watching the replay, hey, how's it going? Okay, let's do this. So today we have a few cool things happening. First of all, I have just a couple of, I get to announce the winner of the day 3 challenge, which is very exciting. Second of all, we are going to be bringing in, I have them sitting in the room waiting with me here. I'm going to be bringing in some of our previous photography and focus students and our graduates, and they're going to be telling you a little bit about their photography journey and how this has helped them in their daily lives, because that's kind of what it does. It's pretty cool. So that's going to be coming up, and then don't forget to stick around for our bonus tip today. It's a very, very cool one, and you're just going to have to wait and see what it is because I don't want to give it away. All right, so let's dive in here. The winner of yesterday's daily prize draw is, drum roll, Terry Strum. Terry, congratulations. You have won yourself an awesome travel lens mug. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to pop it in the post for you next week. And yay! Thank you so much for playing fully all out in the challenge yesterday. You're amazing and totally, totally freaking incredible. So let me just give me a second here, and I'm just going to congratulate Terry. This is why sometimes I wish I had like an entire team of people here helping me. Of our day 3 prize draw. Yeah. Go Terry. Okay. A couple of heads up about today's post. So today is a scavenger hunt, which means that we're not hunting through the photos you have taken. Today, you are going to grab your cameras, get out there, and take some new photos. That's the idea of today's challenge. And I think I updated the post. It's okay if you have to go back and post other ones. But I'd love to see you guys exploring the world around you, embracing your creativity, and using those elements of the scavenger hunt to take new photos today. That's the key, new photos today. Also, the second part of this is please just 1 photo per category, because if everybody's posting 4 photos per category, we're going to end up with like, we might really break Facebook today. I don't really want to break Facebook like completely. Okay, so if you guys could work with me on that too, that would be totally phenomenal and amazeballs. But I'm very excited because who doesn't love a good photography scavenger hunt, right? I mean, it's pretty fun. Come on. So remember, use all of the tools you've learned this week. So thinking about things like rule of thirds and your depth of field and your angles and light and color and, go wild. Have some fun with this. It's going to be great. Love these things. All right, so that's today's challenge. And also remember, it's about having fun. So if you just get 1 photo, you're already winning. Okay, so embrace it, have some fun with it, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, cool. So let's go here and bring on some of my all-time favorite people. Here we go. All right. I got 4 people joining me today because you guys are amazing. Here we go. So there is Cherie. Hi, Cherie.
Hello.
There is Kevin. Hello, Kevin. We also have CJ. Hi, CJ, who's taking time out of work today. Thank you very much. And last but absolutely not least, we have Christy. Hi.
So,
You guys are the bomb. I love speaking to you. I know I see you every week, and it's still not enough for me because I thoroughly look forward to our times together, and seeing all of the incredible things you're doing, the amazing, amazing creativity you guys are coming up with. It just blow my mind. And I am very happy to say that the students are very quickly becoming the masters, and you guys will have to start teaching me some things in the next couple of weeks here because basically you're just freaking incredible. All right. So obviously, if you haven't noticed, you haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention. Obviously, we're starting a new cohort of brand new photography and focus students starting next week. And we have so many people who have already jumped on board. And I'm super excited, like ridiculously excited for these guys. It's going to be amazing. But there's tons more potential there. And there are a few people on this group who I think are perfect for the program, who will absolutely love it. And I think they might just need an extra nudge to figure out exactly why this is so important to them. And a little bit of a reminder that, you know, we're worth it. And it actually does do amazing things for our lives when we do stuff for ourselves. Okay. And I'd love to share your stories because you guys have amazing stories. They're very compelling and beautiful. So we're going to keep it to a couple minutes each so that we don't take up all of your days. And let's kick it off. So Cherie, because you were first into the room, you get to go first.
okay.
Okay. So give me a lowdown. Tell me the story. What does photography bring to your life and why is it important that you have it? Go.
Well, as you guys all know my story, I had to leave a very long career to raise grandchildren and be a full-time caregiver for my autistic grandson. So I loved photography when I was younger, but career and everything got in the way. But when this happened, I saw your 5-day challenge and I joined it and I thought, wow, I haven't touched a camera since like out of college, you know? And I thought, but this would be perfect, something that I could do on my own schedule and still be caring for the children and that kind of thing. And once I started it, loved it. And I thought, you know, I could do this and I can really work and have something that belongs to me and do on the side. So, you know, taking photography and focus was wonderful for me because it brought back a lot of the stuff. And not just so that I can do it as a side career, you know, to make a little extra income in my retirement or anything like that. But it was huge because taking care of someone night and day, you lose your own life, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. But I used to travel a lot and do things with friends and all these things. And I kind of was, you know, losing yourself. And this has gave me back like your own private outlet, you know, taking photographs when the kids are in school, doing portrait and senior photography for friends. And while I haven't got, you know, the business portion of it well off the ground yet, I want to make sure how much of I want to do because, like I said, I want it to be according to my schedule. But for me personally, it's given me the extra income because I had to retire early. And it's given me something that's mine. Not belong to all the kids, everything.
Yeah.
4 hours a day, but something that's something that, you know, is important to me and that I can feel good about. So it's really made a huge difference for me.
Oh, that's awesome, Cherie. That's really amazing. And you have come up with some of the most wonderful creative shots. As Cherie did, as part of her mastery program, she did a series of coffee shops. And I just about died with excitement. They were so great. I mean, just the level of creativity. Whew.
The street photography I still love, and I'm working more towards the portraits, which you haven't got to see some that I've taken yet. Edited. But I'm really happy about them in general before even editing. So you'll be seeing those.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Cherie. That's amazing. That's really, really cool. All right, Kevin, you're up next. Give us the lowdown on Kevin's story.
Well, my story, I stumbled across the 5-day challenge, I'm going to say almost a year ago.
It's coming up on that, isn't it?
I think so. I signed up for it and then immediately thought, well, that was dumb.
And now some stupid random person has my contact details.
Kind of
Stab me
impulsive
forever.
sometimes. So I signed up for it and enjoyed the challenge, did all the stuff, and found myself winning the prize to come into the program on we'll call it a scholarship. That was the grand prize. So I got into it, and I was at a point in my photography at that time that I was frustrated. I mean, I knew a lot of things, but not the whole picture. And it was kind of like picking and choosing off of YouTube and various outfits that had, would send me emails with tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. But you could never put it together. You could never put it together. Just gave it all in one package in a consistent format that was different from all the others. And this is the main thing that I like about Yana and her program, is the fact that you sign up on some of these online schools and you get a videotaped lesson and an assignment to go out, take some pictures. You take some pictures, put it up to the Facebook group, and people will give you feedback. Mostly saying, oh, I like this, or that's nice, or way cool, or that sucks, whatever. Yana, you meet together every week. Like today, we're meeting together. Well, this week, we're meeting together every day. But Yana, you meet with her every week, and everybody else is online like we are now, and you can interact with each other, and you do. And it's just a lot more personal. It's a lot more structured. I don't, that's not the word I want, but it's just more homey. You feel like you're in an actual class.
Yeah.
I guess this is what kids are like, having to stay at school and do school online now. I guess.
Except we have slightly better attention.
Inconceivable back in my day. But anyway, that's what it has done for me. I have seen a significant improvement, as have other people in my photography, and it's worth every penny. It absolutely is. It's worth every penny. So
thanks, Kevin. That's awesome. And you've come so far. And what I like about your story, Kevin, is that you did come into the program with quite a bit of knowledge already. Like and so this is why the program is designed for beginners. Like if you know how to turn on your camera, that's great. If you don't, we'll probably cover that in day 1 too. So you're okay, right?
Oh, I can turn it on.
Winning. I know how to find it on my phone. I'm just kidding. But also it's really perfect for people who are coming in with a little bit more experience, but don't actually feel confident about how the pieces fit together. Because when you get it from different sources, you get it explained differently. You get it in bits and pieces. You get it. It's a jumble, right? It never comes together properly unless you have some sort of consistent plan to put it together in place. And the difference between getting it in jumbles and getting it properly is like night and day in your photography. Then you're like, what? Oh, that's how it works. I get
how to make a sun star. I didn't even know that was possible. It's like, wow.
Yeah, you're like, wow.
I don't know. You can.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really cool. Thank you for sharing, Kevin. And it's a really cool story. I really love it. And also, I'm still waiting for this book of photography and poetry because it's going to be the book.
It'll be a minute. No
pressure. I'm just going to keep
no pressure.
That's awesome. All right, Christy, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. Well, it was about a year ago that it came across Facebook, and I saw these photography challenge and this online based class. And I thought, well, I'm sitting here on the sofa and it's winter and I ain't going outside. So I better do something about this, because I had a camera for a number of years. I took classes at some local photography stores, and they made sense at the moment. But then if you left the class and you felt lost, either you forgot it, if you don't use it, you lose it, or some of the technical stuff about the camera, it was just way too much information all in like a 2-hour sitting, and it made you feel dumb. Like it was so technical and you just didn't know. And everyone had different cameras, where this was more individually based, but yet in a group setting. So you got to see, like I have Nikon, but somebody else has Canon. You got to, see and talk about the differences and learn your camera in a group setting. And it was so down to earth. I never felt stupid. It really, you had to be dedicated to it. Over my first session was three months, and it wasn't just, I'm going to learn this today, and then you forget it. You had little projects to do along the way that made sense. It's like, this is what we just learned. Now I know how. I mean, sun stars, like Kevin said, I love sun stars. I would just go out. I'm like, all I have to do is stand there, move a little bit this way, move a little bit that way, and I got a sun star. It's so easy.
So satisfying.
Yes. So I love nature photography. That's kind of where my heart is. But I did everything that was asked. I did the street photography. I did the portraits. I did.
Yes, you did.
I did the tail lights at night. I did some architecture. It was awesome. And then you get really impressed when you land something awesome. Probably some of my favorites is driving in the truck with the hubby, and he doesn't want to stop when you're going somewhere. And I've taken some amazing photos at like 70 miles an hour.
You've taken some killer shots.
Through the side
so
window.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, because I know how he drives. And you just have to do it, because all the little things that you like about photography kind of get practiced on and set more into what you do, that it makes sense. And you get to share it with a group. I mean, I'm not really close to anybody here. I'm in Pennsylvania, but there's just a few people in Connecticut and Jersey that we talk on a regular basis now outside of the class. And it's just well worth it.
This group trips are tons of fun. One day we're all going to meet somewhere. I just don't know where yet. We're going to plan that out. We'll have a big party.
Somewhere warm.
It'll be great. So everybody wants to be part of that party. And warm. Yeah, let's go with that. It's so warm here today. Actually, it's kind of summerish. It's great. That's amazing, Christy. And what I love about all of you, but especially you, Christy, is that you threw yourself behind every single challenge with so much enthusiasm and like commitment to it. You were like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure out. I'm like, well, you don't have to. And you're like, nope, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it properly. And it's going to be awesome. And you made it work every single time. And now that you have gone through the whole thing, now the benefit is that you get to go back and be like, you know what? I actually really do love this. Like, you love nature photography, you love landscapes, you love macro. It's like, yes, that is Christy, and you are creating your own style, and you have the things that you love to do, and I just love that. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to watch. It's really, really cool.
And when you fall in love with the variety of creative lenses out there,
you're doomed.
I just started practicing with my lens baby, and I'm like, whoa,
cool,
something boring and drab in winter, and it's like beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see these. You have to start sharing them with us. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's very, very cool. Thank you, Christy. That's amazing.
It feels so good.
It does feel pretty good. I always get a big kick out of it, and I'm not even doing the course. So, CJ, get to round us out. Hold on, I just muted you because there was some wind before, but I'm going to unmute you now. Wait. No, you might have to do it. Oh, you're good. Okay, awesome. Tell us, my dear.
I got to talk fast. Yeah, I've got to talk fast, though.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I should let you go first.
Work, but
okay, you've got 2 minutes on the clock. Go.
It's all right. Okay. My story is that my COVID hit. I've always loved photography, and COVID hit, and my son was a senior. And, the layoffs, and you know how stuff goes. And I wanted to make sure that my son didn't miss out on anything. So I wanted to take his senior pictures. But I honestly had no clue how to work the camera. I had taken pictures, loved pictures all of my life, but did not know how to work my camera, and I didn't want to fail him. And then I stumbled upon the 5-day challenge, and Yana, you just sucked me in and made me feel like I could actually do this. So, I didn't want to stop. And
for the record, CJ, when you just said to me you didn't know how to use your camera when you came in, I'm actually a little bit shocked about that, because I thought you already knew how to use your camera when you came in. You picked up stuff so quickly. You were like, boom, right there. I was like, oh, I guess CJ already knows stuff. There you go. I learned something new today.
Thank- Well, thank you. My dad would be proud. I made straight A's all through high school. So,
Yeah, I can see that. Seriously.
so
And now
yeah.
you're starting to book in some clients as well, right? You might have an engagement, wedding,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
couple shoot coming up.
Yeah. Well, yes, actually, I get to do all 4 sets. I get to do the newborn, maternity, engagement, and wedding.
That's
So,
cool.
you know, I don't know I know maternity's first, I think, because she is with child at the moment. And honestly, I haven't met them completely, both of them yet. So it's just a setup meeting for Saturday.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm like, score.
It's really exciting. It's exciting what it can
Right.
become, right?
Yeah,
Right. And I love the fact that I'm going to get to explore. I get to be me, get to make them something beautiful, but I get to be me as well. And always different. I'm always the one that's the oddball. So
Works. It works.
yeah,
It becomes part of your own style, right? All of our unique little
exactly.
personality traits, the things that we think drive other people crazy, is probably actually what's the best part about us. We just need to have
Yeah,
the outlet
exactly.
to put it all in there, right? That's what
Yes, and
photography
I'm
does.
so thankful I found it. I've always been a creative, but never was able to understand, exactly where I could shine. And I feel like I shine in photography, and
You
definitely
so do.
brought it out of me. Yes,
That's awesome.
and I'm a lot
That's
happier now.
awesome.
It's just honestly, it's just made my life so much better.
Mm, that's amazing. Well, you know what? You guys are totally and utterly incredible. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and share your stories. I do this quite a lot, so I don't get nervous sitting on a live anymore, mostly just because, you guys know I'm just uniquely me, and I like it, hate it, I don't really care at this point. But I know for the first time around, it can be pretty nerve-wracking to have to sit in front of a huge group, even if it is online. So thank you guys for being brave and for coming and doing this with me. Now, team, if you guys have any questions for these lovely, lovely people, feel free to ask it. You could just use their first name and just direct a question to them. And CJ, I know you have to go. Yeah, catch you later. But I'm going to sign off with these guys anyway, because I didn't want to take all of your day, and I did want to share their stories. But if you have any questions or you want to reach out to any of them, please don't hesitate to let me know. Okay. So Cherie, Kevin, Christy, you guys are amazing. I'm going to talk to you soon. Everybody else, hang online because I have our bonus photography tip coming up in just a second here. So thank you guys, and I'll see all of you next week. Yeah. Alrighty-o. So we are going to dive in to our day 4 bonus tip. Yeah, we're talking ponies today. I'm just kidding. We're not talking ponies. It's got nothing to do with ponies. Okay. Awesome. So let's dive into our day 4 bonus tip today, which is pretty exciting. So day 4 today is a 2-parter, and it's a 2-parter about gear. So we're going to talk a little bit about photography equipment and what is the difference between some of these things. Because when you're starting to look for different photography gear, obviously there's a billion questions about gear, and I'm only going through 2 parts. Okay, so don't get too excited. We're not going like in depth into what you should buy and why. But it's difficult to understand the difference between a couple of really key things. So we're going to cover those 2 key things here today. So the first part here is this. What is the difference between a full frame camera and a crop sensor camera? What is the difference between these 2 things, and why should I be purchasing one over the other? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Let's take a quick look here. Okay, so what is it though? So I really like this slide because this shows us pretty much inside our camera what the sensors look like. And these are actually the sensors inside your camera. What are sensors? Sensors actually record the image that you're taking. Okay, so, your camera does all sorts of different things, but at the end of the day, the sensor is what actually takes that image and creates that file inside your camera. So it's the most important part of your camera. It also happens to be the most expensive part of your camera to manufacture, which is why a full frame camera is more expensive than a crop sensor. So let's have a look here. So this one is the crop sensor on this side, and you'll see that the sensor size is smaller, right? And this one is a full frame sensor, so you'll see the sensor size is a lot bigger. Okay, and how this plays out is a bit like this. So if this photo here, this would be the full frame sensor size. Please note this is not to scale. And this would be the crop sensor size. Okay, so yes, basically it just translates to the size of your sensor. Crop sensor is about 2/3 the size of a full frame sensor, which is pretty cool. All right, so what does this kind of mean though? This means that our full frame cameras let in more light, okay? So because they have a bigger sensor, they're just capturing more light. It's one of the advantages of having a full frame sensor camera. So when you see, the second part of this is when you see the focal length written on your lens, okay, it's always written on the front of your lens there, That focal length is actually the focal length on a full frame camera. So if I go back here to, to this shot here, what you will notice is the full frame camera is more zoomed out than the crop sense. The crop sense is actually a little zoomed in. So when you see the focal length on your lens, it's actually the focal length for a full frame camera. So a crop sensor camera is actually more zoomed than that. So for example, the 50mm lens on my camera is a true 50mm lens because I have a full frame camera. If you put that 50mm lens on a crop sensor camera, it's actually closer to 85mm, so it's a little bit more zoomed in, right? Same thing, a 35mm on my camera is a true 35. A 35mm on a crop sensor camera is more like a 50, okay? So it's a little bit more zoomed in. All right, so what does this mean? So this means that full frame cameras generally, actually almost all the time, offer you better image quality. So they let in more light, which means you need to use less ISO, which means at the end of the day, you're getting better quality shots. But here's the catch, guys. A crop sensor camera is fantastic for zooming. So if you're one of those people that just loves birding and you don't want to spend $6,000 on a 500mm lens that's going to fit on your camera, then go with a crop sensor camera because every lens you put onto that is already more zoomed, okay? So if you put a 300mm lens on a crop sensor, you're getting like 400mm versus me, who's still only getting 300mm. So you're getting a little bit more zoom, a bit more bang for your buck. Now, this is the reason, though, this image quality in particular is the reason why full frame cameras are more expensive than crop sensor cameras. You just get to take better shots. The other catch is that generally lenses for full frame cameras are more expensive too, which is annoying. So when you start spending more money, you end up spending a lot more money. And crop sensor cameras create stunning photo quality still. Okay, so this is not one of those things that you have to be putting thousands of dollars behind a full frame camera. And in fact, to be honest with you guys, until you actually learn how to use any kind of camera, you would be crazy to buy a full frame set camera. Okay, if you can't use it, then there's absolutely really no point in having it. I was thinking about this last night, and it's a little bit disgusting, but it's kind of like having a toilet in your house and not really understanding how to use it, so you just end up going in the yard. That was probably pretty harsh, but it was the first thing that came to my brain, and I was just like, well, I'm going to share it anyway. So you've got to be able to use the camera you have. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if it's full frame or crop sensor. You're still going to be taking mediocre photos. So that's the key here, guys. So knowing this, don't, under any circumstances, go out and buy a full frame camera because you think it's going to take better shots. You got to learn how to do it first. And then, yes, absolutely, at some point in time in your photography journey, like the 4 people you were just talking to, they are all 100,000,000% ready for full frame cameras. They've got it. They're ready to go. They're going to be able to make the most of it. And then they will absolutely see the difference in the quality of their photos. Okay. So that's my suggestion about that. That's the difference between the two. And so when you're ready to go for it, then go for it, but don't go for it straight away. Okay, just keep it simple. You don't need expensive camera gear to get started. All right. Is there specific math to figure out what the lens millimeter is on a crop sensor? There is, and also it doesn't really matter. So whether it's actually a 30mm or a 35mm is not really going to make that much of a difference. But Megan, you can always just Google it. That's the quickest way. And yeah, who needs more maths in their life? We do enough of that already. So just Google it. But otherwise, it's about, there you go. See, it's honest to goodness, guys, the difference between a few millimeters here and there is not going to make or break your shot. All right. So you don't need to worry too much about it. All right. So that's the difference between full frame and crop sensor cameras. That's our first piece of equipment stuff today. All right. Part number 2. I like part number 2 too. What is the difference between a prime lens and a zoom lens? Okay. So prime lenses, this is what it looks like, guys, have one ring on them, just one ring only. Okay. And this ring is my fine focus ring. It does not zoom, because this is the key thing about prime lenses. They do not zoom. If you want to zoom, you must be the zoom. Embrace the zoom. So if you want to zoom, you got to take 3 steps forward or 4 steps backwards. There you go. That's how that works. Okay. So then what's called a fixed focal length, which means that this prime lens here, which is a Canon 50mm f1.8, it's called a Nifty 50. Every company has one, and it's 100% worth getting. This does not zoom, so you just have to be the zoom. It only has one focal length, and that is 50 millimeters. Okay. All right. The next thing about this is generally, and here's the thing, guys, because they don't zoom, there's less components inside. Because there are less components inside, they are cheaper to manufacture. So what happens with prime lenses is that generally they're cheaper than zoom lenses, and they're also better quality. They also tend to be a little bit smaller for the same focal length. Okay, so if you have to, so for example, this lens is a Canon 50mm f1.8. It costs around about $150. Okay, you can often get them on sale and they're pretty cheap secondhand. In this example, this here is my zoom lens. This is a kit lens that most of you guys will have coming with your crop sensor cameras, especially. It's an 18 to 55mm. And this lens is probably a little bit more expensive than the last lens, but it's not as good a quality because it doesn't have as low an aperture. Now, when you start learning a little bit more about aperture, what you realize is that the lower the number, the better. So this lens here has an aperture of f1.8, and this lens here has an aperture that goes between, the lowest aperture goes between 3.5 and 5.6. So it's bigger, it's heavier, it's more expensive, and it's not as good a quality, but it zooms. Okay, so now we have to make a choice. So let's look at this zoom lens here. So a zoom lens has 2 rings on it. Now, for some of you guys, that second ring is kind of a bit craftily hidden at the very front of your lens there, okay? But that is the first one at the front here is our fine focus ring. So remember yesterday we talked about manual versus autofocus. If you're manually focusing, you need to use this front ring. And this back one here is your zoom ring, okay? And so this helps you to go between 18mm and 55 or back and forth and back and forth. All right, so it zooms, which is super cool. But again, just as I was saying before, they're generally a little bit bigger, heavier, and more expensive for the same quality as prime lenses. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. You guys do have to decide. As I mentioned before, I think a couple of days ago, I shoot exclusively using prime lenses. And sometimes it's a pain in the butt because if I'm moving from a wider scene, she had a zoom lens about an hour ago. Yeah, that's fair. If you're moving from a wider scene to a more zoom scene, I actually have to switch lenses. Which is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Having said that, I am deeply, deeply, deeply in love with all of my lenses. Yeah, it's a love affair. We're tight. I'm going to celebrate them on Valentine's Day. Don't tell James. Okay. Yeah. So I love zoom. I love prime lenses, and it's not for everyone. I also find that if you're making the transition between zoom lenses and you're trying out a prime lens, you have to give it time. It is a different way of shooting. It's a different way of taking photos, particularly if you're used to zooming in and zooming out. I like it because it takes out choices for me and I get to focus exclusively on the composition of the scene and what I see and how I'm going to shift myself so that I can create what I want to create. So it makes me more aware of my surroundings, but it's not that easy. Okay, so you need to give yourself some time on the transition. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's a terrible expression. Okay. So Greg, good question. Is the best thing to spend your money on with a crop quality lenses? You know what, guys? Almost always the best thing to spend your money on in the beginning are quality lenses. The one thing I would say about buying lenses, if you have a crop sensor camera, is just to future-proof yourself by looking at getting full-frame lenses. You don't have to get full-frame lenses. They do work on crop sensor cameras as long as you're just double-checking the compatibility. But it does future-pace you so that if you ever do go and get a full-frame camera, you can use those lenses on it. The problem is if you buy crop sensor lenses, you cannot put them on a full-frame camera, so you have to go and buy new lenses as well. But always, good lenses will do wonders for your photograph. And remember, you're looking for the lower f-stops possible. Okay, that gives you the most amount of light and the best blurry backgrounds. All right, guys, so that's my two-parter bonus tip for today. So do we have any questions, team? How do you check what kind of camera you have? So the quickest thing that you can do, Suzette, for that is just Google it and just be like, is my camera a full frame? But if you just write it in here, I could tell you if it's a full frame or a crop. Generally, most of our cameras are crop sensor cameras. Generally, it's just kind of the way it is. Any questions though? And also, Suzette, you did the right thing. Buying used is amazing. It's totally the way to go. Okay, there's a huge used market. Sometimes you get a dud. Canon 70D, Suzette, is a crop sensor camera. Beautiful camera. Really, really nice. It's one of the better quality crop sensors, so you made a really nice choice. If I could only have one lens, what size would it be? Oh, that's a super tough question. I honestly couldn't decide between, so the two choices that I would make between my two lenses, I would choose either a 50mm for my full frame camera, which is a true 50mm, or the 35. The reason I can't choose is because that 35mm is particularly beautiful. Like, It's the Nikon 35mm f1.4, and it is particularly amazing. It's an expensive lens, and it takes absolutely stunning shots. But on the flip side, the 50mm is small and it's light. So if you only could have one lens with you and you were going traveling, I'd probably take the 50. No, I'd probably take the 35. I'm not gonna lie. All right, there you go. So I'd probably choose my Nikon 35 1.4. It's amazing. I love it. How do you know if your lens is both full and crop or just full? Okay, so basically what you're looking for is it's really important just to Google the compatibility of your lenses, or just talk to whoever you're buying it from. But usually you're looking for FX lenses for Nikon. I can't off the top of remember what the coding is for Canon, but almost every single full frame lens is compatible with a crop sensor camera. You just need to double check. So you probably won't have any issues with that. Canon Rebel T6 is a crop sensor as well. I don't have any prime lenses, so which one would you recommend? No prime lenses at all. Start with the 50mm 1.8. 100% Karen. It's nice and cheap as well. Get one secondhand, so you can try it out and make sure you like it. D7000 is also a crop sensor camera. Okay. What brand do I shoot with? So I shoot Nikon because I love Nikon. No, actually, it doesn't really matter. So here's the thing. It didn't really matter. I think when we first, you know how we decided. So we used to shoot Olympus, and then Olympus stopped having their DSLR line. And so when we shifted, we moved. I distinctly remember this moment in the camera store, and we're trying to decide between the new Canon full frame 60. It was new back then, don't judge me, and the Nikon 600 D600, sorry, which were both like the entry level full frame systems for those cameras. And I distinctly remember this conversation because we're like, how do you choose? I don't even know. They're both amazing, right? Like they're both absolutely stunning systems. You know what it came down to? I have tiny hands. Like I have really small hands. I think my daughter's going to outgrow my hand size in 2 years. And so the Nikon had a more aggressive grip, so I could hold it better in my hands. That's what it came down to. How crazy is that? There you go, because they're both amazing. Yeah, the Rebel T7, T8, all the Rebel series are crop sensors. What? Yeah, what do you like to take photos of? Exactly. How to choose your lens is all about that, right? And I'm a very candid photographer. I love travel photography. I like taking photos as I go. Perfect. Thank you for that. Canon 5D Mark IV, I'm guessing that is. Yes, the Canon 5D series, they are all full frame cameras. I know, I loved our Olympus DSLR too. It was actually how we started because we had a friend of ours who used to work for Olympus, and he used to get us their employee discount. It was 50% off. It was amazing. That's why we started with Olympus, and I loved them. We took some amazing photos. All right, any other questions for today, guys? Yeah, small hands. See, it's a small hand thing. So Kim, Nikons will probably feel better in your hand than, yeah, there you go, than Canons. That's how I feel about it anyway. All right, team. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I know everybody who was here and shared their stories with you really appreciated having your support and having you here as well. It's always a bit scary. So thank you guys for listening and for being so present. Karen, yes, sorry, your T6 is a crop sensor. Yeah, it's a great camera though. You've got a good one there. Okay, so we have one more live left tomorrow, one more challenge. Remember, guys, this challenge is all about getting out there and having some fun and actually using your camera this week. So get your camera, pop it in your hands, go and take some photos. There is no such thing as perfection, so don't even bother, just have some fun with it, okay? Do what you can, post them up there, and let's all share. And don't forget to be on live tomorrow. It's our last sort of full live before our grand prize draw. That's going to be a really quick live on Sunday. And I'm going to have another bonus tip for you tomorrow, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so talk to each and every one of you then. Happy snapping, and thanks again. Catch you later.